Today, I want to share something that many of us struggle with, and that is boundaries. For me personally, I was a good girl. That was my label. One of my sisters had the cheeky one of them had the naughty one, but I was labeled the good girl. And when you're labeled the good girl, you don't want to start putting boundaries in. I never understood how to put boundaries in because I always had to be good, or always felt I had to be good. So putting boundaries in could make me feel like I was being unkind to someone. I wasn't being very nice. So boundaries was never really something I did. I never said no to anything. I just did everything that was expected of me, and that carried on throughout my days, my life, my habits that I had. You might be like me and you've always said yes to everything and you really want to say no, or you're not sure what you want to say. Inside, you're thinking, do I want to say yes? You've not got time to even think about it. You're just straight away saying yes to something. And it could be making you feel drained. It could be making you feel unaligned. You're a bit not sure whether you want to keep putting everybody first. You want to put them on your list, but not put them on your list first before yourself. This video could be for you. So I want to share about what boundaries are. I also want to share ways that you might be seeing signs that you could be putting extra boundaries in or putting boundaries in. And I want to share how we can start putting some boundaries in. That could feel a bit alien to us if we've not put those boundaries in before, or we're not sure whether we've put boundaries in before. And we want to start putting a few soft boundaries in before we start putting some other ones in. I'm going to explore all that with you today. So my name is Diane. I am a qualified counsellor, but I'm also a Reiki practitioner. And I want to start with, what are boundaries? Boundaries are not pushing people away. You're not putting a wall in front of your loved ones, your friends, your family, but they're like an invisible line, this invisible line that you're putting in to protect yourself, to protect your energy, to protect your well-being. Boundaries can be what define what's okay for us, but also what's not okay for us. Somebody once said to me that think of boundaries as a fence around your garden. These are the things I'm letting in, and these are the things I'm keeping out. These are the things I'm just leaving outside there for the moment because it doesn't feel aligned with us. It doesn't feel good for us to let that in. When you're thinking about that fence can really help us decide what we let in. Not just let anything in, but what we decide we want to let in, but also how far we want to let that in, and under what conditions we want to let that in. Whatever that thing is, what we're letting in and how far we're going to let that in. You might be suddenly sitting thinking there for the first time and wondering, how I got boundaries? Do I need better boundaries? And what are the signs that I haven't got boundaries? And boundaries can come from all places in our world. They can come from our family, they can be around friends, they can be around work colleagues. There's all sorts of different places that we can recognise whether we've got boundaries or not. And some of the signs that we haven't got boundaries in place, or we want to have better ones, are one of the first one might be that you feel a bit of burnout. You might also feel resentful of saying yes to something. You might be feeling like there's an obligation you've got to say yes to something when really you're feeling, do I actually want to do that? But I've just said yes. That could be a sign that you've got to put boundaries in place, or you could need stronger boundaries in place. Another sign that you need boundaries or better boundaries could be that you are recognizing that you're doing a lot of people pleasing. You're trying to avoid conflict, and because you don't want to get involved in conflict, you're saying yes to things, or you're doing things that you really aren't aligned to doing. Is any of this sounding familiar? Are you recognizing yourself with any of those signs above? Let me know in the comments, because I was sitting here for a really long time and I didn't even realize that it was to do with boundaries. I was saying yes to things, and I'm just straight away saying yes to things, and after I was in that, I was thinking, why have I committed to coming to this place or this time or this event when actually I don't want to be here, or I don't want to be here for this long? So you're not alone in this way of thinking. It's easy. It's an easy cycle to get into. One of the things that can stop us from putting boundaries in, or better boundaries in, is that we don't want to be unkind. We think we're being unkind to that other person, but actually we're not always putting ourselves at the top of that list. We're just being kind to other people. Let's look at how we can put some boundaries in a place in a way that might feel more authentic, that might feel kind, that might be sitting okay for you, might be sitting better for you to put these boundaries in place. So how do we set healthy boundaries? How do we put this in place? I would say the first thing you want to do is sit for a minute and be clear on what your needs are, not what somebody else's are, what your needs are, because you are the most important person in your world, or you should be the most important person in your world. Now, I'm not saying don't consider other people, but this can be challenging because you might be somebody that always puts your other people's needs before your own. But start getting clear what your needs are. And it might help to start asking yourself, what do I need to feel safe? What do I need to feel secure? What do I need to feel valued here? So something that can help with this, so a next step, if you like, with this, is using I statements. Often we'll say, oh, they need me. But if we start using I statements, so I feel overwhelmed when I've got to answer somebody straight away. So what I need is time to answer. So recognize that you might need time to answer. So saying I is you're going from yourself and not from somebody else. I need time so that I can answer. I need time so that I can be clear and confident and respectful for what I want to say to that person. And that can help us with the delivery of how we're going to say to somebody, actually, I don't want to come out tonight, or actually, I want a night in. But sometimes we need that time, so make it really clear. Another thing I'd like to offer you on setting healthy boundaries, which has helped me. And when I first started thinking of this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, absolutely not. I can't do that. That feels rude, because I was always one that would say, give this great big spiel of an explanation why I couldn't do something. So something that's helped me, which I'm passing on to you, is just say no. No is a sentence in itself. If you want to pad that out a little bit, no, thank you, but no, thank you. And that's it. You haven't actually got to go into a big explanation or make excuses or come up with a reason for not wanting something. Just, no, I don't fancy that, but thank you for asking. How is that sitting with you, even me sharing that? Because the first time I heard it, I was thinking, oh, I backed away thinking, absolutely not, I can't do that. So remember, no is a full sentence. But if you want to make it a bit longer and a bit kinder so it sits better for you, is pad it out a little bit. No, thank you very much for asking, but I don't fancy that. Or no, I'm really sorry, but I can't help with that today. Another thing I'd like to add is expect pushback when you're setting boundaries, because if people aren't used to you setting boundaries, if they're used to you saying yes to everything, they're not going to really understand it for a while. So they're going to start pushing your boundaries. And the pushback can come in all different shapes and sizes. They might say something like, but I really need you. So it's a case of staying firm, staying kind, staying true to where you're at. Go back to your I sentences, but actually I need this today. So stay firm. You're being kinder to yourself, which feels more aligned. So stay calm, stay consistent. What you're learning here is you're learning to be kinder to yourself rather than kinder to the needs of others. And that's going to take some juggling when you're first starting doing it. I know it's taken me years to understand that it's not me being unkind, saying, actually, I can't do that today. Or no, that's not in alignment with how my day or my week was going to look. So thank you so much, but it's not something I can do right now. That took a really lot for me to do that, because I felt like a really horrible person. I didn't feel like that good girl. I felt like I was harming somebody. But actually what I've realised is I'm being kinder to myself. I'm being kinder to my needs and more aligned with myself. I still do lots and lots of stuff for other people, and I love that. That's part of who I am. But actually I do it when it feels right. I do it when I can. I do it when I can fit it in. And that feels kinder to me, which feels right now, but it didn't for a long time. So I would offer you to start small. This is how I started. Maybe if you're having a rest, if you're having a bit of a break, don't answer that call straight away. And that's starting small. It's something quite safe that you can do. The panic could rise, the worry could rise. Oh my gosh, they're going to think I don't like them. Remember, go back to your I statement. I need to rest at this moment. I'm going to call that person back to see what they need and set a timer by it in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever that is for you. But at this moment, I need to rest. So start small, and you're like anything you're learning new, going to the gym, learning to run, learning a new language. We start small. We don't just go straight in at running a marathon. We start small, and this is the same. Start small, something copable that feels okay. You can feel the panic rising, but I can just about handle it because I know that I'm going to call them back in 10, 15 minutes. And then as you start doing it, that becomes a habit, you'll be able to tackle some of the bigger things. Be aware when you're setting boundaries that there's something that can just creep along beside it, and that's guilt. And it came in big for me, that guilt of not answering that phone call straight away or not saying yes straight away, because this may be something brand new to you and you may not have done this before. So if you're doing this for the first time, guilt can really be something that can run alongside it. So just expect that to come in, and that's where you quieten it down, you quieten that panic down. It's okay, I'm doing what I need in this moment, and I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to put myself first on this to-do list today. But remember that boundaries are not you being mean. They're not you being unkind. They're you starting to put yourself first, your own well-being, your own needs first. You're actually being responsible for you, not somebody else, which is what you might be used to doing. I now believe that setting healthy boundaries are a way to get our own self-respect back, to start believing in ourselves, to start doing things that feels right for us. And actually they can strengthen the relationships rather than weaken them. I thought that people wasn't going to like me if I set boundaries. I thought people wasn't going to like me if I wasn't saying yes to everything. But actually it's done the complete opposite. It's clearer, and it's strengthened the relationships that I already had there. And I feel like the reason for that is that those relationships are based more on honesty of what I want to give, not what I feel is taken from me. There's a more honesty and a more genuineness to the relationship of what wants to be given and what doesn't want to be given by me. I'd love to know where you're at with boundaries. I'd love to know whether this has brought up anything for you, and whether you're sitting thinking, do you know what, I am going to set a boundary this week. If you want to be accountable for that boundary, pop it in the comments, because you can say, right, this week I am going to set this, and then you can come back. And if this resonates with you, please like, but mainly share with others, because this is why I'm putting all this free content out here of things that I've picked up from my own personal journey that I've been on, but also stuff that I've shared with clients and that it has helped them with their journey. So I wanted to get out to more people. So me sharing here with you and then you sharing with others, we're passing this stuff on for other people that might need to hear this right now. And hit that bell, because if you hit that bell, then you're notified for any more of my videos that will be coming next. And I have got lots and lots to share with you, that things that have helped me, but also that have helped clients that come here week in, week out. So I hope you have a fabulous day, week and month, and I hope to see you in the next video.